The CDC says the Biden administration will end a Trump-era pandemic restriction next month that's blocked migrants from entering the U.S. Now the Department of Homeland Security says it's bracing for a record number of crossings, as many as 18,000 per day. CNN's Polo Sandoval is near the Mexican border in Hidalgo, Texas. Polo, what are officials bracing for?
So, Fred, there is absolutely no question that this predicted increase in asylum-seeking families showing up in the nation's southern border will certainly put an additional strain on resources in border communities just like this one, just up and down the border. What we can see, though, are some of those numbers that have been recently shared by the Biden administration. In fact, Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas with the Department of Homeland Security right here on CNN laying out those numbers just yesterday, saying on average you're seeing about 7,000 of those people, of those families, basically showing up at the nation's doorstep seeking asylum. However, because of that Title 42 public health authority that was enacted, or at least put into play by the Trump administration and allowed to continue during the Biden administration, about 50% of those, according to the secretary, are basically expelled back south of the border. And that has created a situation that many of those nonprofits that help these families, a fairly workable number. And that's where some of those concerns then pick up here. The worry is that in about 7 weeks, when that Title 42 provision is basically removed, is that will now allow many of these families the legal right and ability to actually show up at the U.S. seeking asylum. And that then, however, is fueling those concerns that the infrastructure right now that's in place, and also most importantly, the policies in place may not be quite ready to handle that large influx. Because here's the thing. For the last 2 years that Title 42 has been in place, we have seen thousands of families just across border bridges like the one that you see behind me, basically staging, and a backlog of thousands of families that once given the opportunity, they are determined to show up at the nation's doorstep and declare asylum. And that's really caused some sharp divisions in border communities. You have some of those immigration advocates that are applauding this move by the Biden administration and the CDC. But you also hear from other people in these communities, including even the lawmakers that represent them, and they feel that the federal government is not quite prepared to be able to handle that demand. I want you to hear a portion of the conversation that I had just this week with Representative Vicente Gonzalez, a Democrat who basically signed onto a letter that was mainly signed by Republican lawmakers calling on the Biden administration to really prepare themselves for what's to come.
When I say I'm against lifting Title 42 and I'm against the disorderly process of migrants crossing our southern border, I'm not saying this as a Democrat or as a Republican. I'm saying this as a South Texan and as an American, that we need to find an orderly process. If we're going to allow migrants into this country, I think they should be applying for asylum in their home country or in their neighboring country, and we should find better ways and a better process for people to either be accepted or denied asylum.